motion. You are now live. Hey everybody, it's Tuesday and it's 6:30. That means it's time to find out who's motivating the motivator. So if you are new to this, because there's a few people that are new to this, so hey y'all. So if you are new to this, this is a platform for Black women and women of color to amplify their voices. Now, who should be listening? Everybody should be listening. So I don't care who you are, what you think, what you love, what you believe, who you love, any of that stuff. This is for everybody to come in and just hear what we have to say, to come in and and know some things that you might have been missing, to find out some things that you may have actually been missing because you didn't know that these voices were voices to be heard. So that's why I've got this platform. So just in case you're wondering, so tonight is Jannelle Cortes. She's on her way in, so to speak. So just so you know, you're like, oh, Latifah has a different background today. Because I am in Pennsylvania. Why? Because the weekend of July 31st through August 2nd, I have a weekend retreat. We're going to be hiking. Hey, there she goes. We're going to be hiking and, group trips. I got to get her in here. Report, pin, hide. Oh, man. There we go. So we are going to be doing some hiking. We're going to be doing some meditation. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So I'm just waiting for Jannelle to come in. But just so you know, there I go. I just invited her. Okay, we got to get her in there. So, Jannelle, go out and then come back in. It says you're not able to come back in. Or go in under another, one of your other things if you have one. So, just so you know, just while she's getting in, what I have is this retreat that's coming up. Jannelle, you have to go out and come back in. So I have this retreat coming up. What we're going to do, we're out here. So we're going to Buttermilk Falls and a few other places out here towards the Pennsylvania coastline, state line. It is a weekend filled with nature, hiking, healing, self-love, self-preservation. We have a lot of things that will be coming up. So that's why I hope you all can just like we have a little technical difficulty today, so my apologies. I know you all are in here. We may have to go out and come back in because for some reason Instagram is not letting Groove Trips join me for this live. Groove Trips is Jannelle Cortes. Boom. I think we may be getting, technology is on our side. But just so you all know, remember, July 31st.
I'm here.
I
have arrived.
What happened?
Can you hear me?
You're asking for prices. It will be less than $400, but that will be including all meals, hiking, meditation for the whole weekend. So just so you all know that. I can see your couch, Jannelle. I see your couch.
Know.
Miss Cortes.
Show you my communication candle. Okay, I brought this for you.
I love it.
Especially, I brought wine.
First things first.
A fresh bottle in case things get a little heated.
Yes. Save your pennies. Everybody's like, yeah, I'm in there. I love it. So everybody, welcome to the stage, Jannelle Cortes. Hey, honey. But she doesn't get to talk because I got to hype her up first. So we got to get a little hype. And it might get a little funky because I've known this woman here 20 years maybe? Did I meet you before or after? It was after my child was born. So 19 years we've known each other. Can you believe that? Can you believe my child just turned 20 yesterday. So anyway, we'll get into that in a little bit. So we've known each other for quite a while. We met in a belly dance class in Harlem. We danced on the, did we dance? We got to do the whole. So we met in a belly dance class at the Harlem Y. I don't think there was a time that we didn't connect. I think from the beginning we connected. We danced together. We laughed together. My son hugged all up on her forever because, you know, she's, so we had this is true. But we just became very close friends, very fast friends. We're both incredibly driven, and we were able to support each other in various ways in our drive to move forward with our careers, with the different twists and turns that life takes, whether it was in relationships, because we've had some heartbreaks that we have poured into each other about, yeah. So whether it was heartbreak, yeah. Wait.
Wait, hold on, right. You don't have to dive right in there.
I know, it's my bad. So between life and career and changes and elevation, we have been there for each other. And we are so close actually that, you know, when my ex-husband and I moved from Harlem, she was like, I need a place. And we were like, we loved our landlord so much. We didn't want anybody to come into the apartment that was going to not be good for our landlord, because she's such an amazingly beautiful woman. And we're like, who's going to respect her?
She is honestly like the grandmother that, like my New York grandmother. Yeah, exactly. She's fantastic. And she actually reminded me the other day that I've been here for 15 years.
Yeah, that's about right.
I've been in this apartment for 15 years. And that's it. I know you're doing your whole introduction, so you can tell me.
Girl, this is all, it's a conversation.
But let me just say that before I moved into this apartment, Latifah, I had lived in 4 different places that year. I don't know if you remember that. And this is when you and I worked at Harry Studios.
Yes.
I mean, you and I met in Ariana's class. Ariana's class at the YMCA, legendary. If you were a belly dancer of color, that was your home. That was your home. It really was, because it was really the only place where we could go and feel represented, and not just feel represented, but we were celebrated.
We sure were.
We had a drummer. You remember that? We had a drummer in every class.
Yes.
She was always doing the Zekadits, which I can't, to this day.
I can't do it. I can't even do it right now.
I can't do it. But she, and I mean, if you could just imagine, guys, how intimidating dance classes, yes, we dance teachers know how intimidating dance classes can be, because we were once students, you know? Yeah. And being in that class, though, was like the ultimate hype up. So I know that that's where I met you, and to be honest with you, I always, you know, say that Latifah is my, you know, my mentor in a sense, because when I didn't really know where I was going to go with this dance, to be honest with you, I knew I love this art form. I had so many Arab friends. I wanted to explore it a lot deeper, and you know, I saw somebody like Latifah that I was like, wow, how does she move like that? And all of that, you know, her big smile and the energy and all that. And I just remembered, you know, looking forward to people like her and Ariana, of course, and Nita, and just Cheryl, you know, just Bruja Jess, all these people that were phenomenal in that class that, you know, I just felt like, wow, I can look up to these ladies, you know, and also dance with them, and also feel like we're still on the same level, but I'm still learning from you. You know what I mean?
And we were killing it too. We were killing it.
What happened?
We were killing it.
Yeah, we were. We were fabulous. We were pretty fabulous at the YMCA. We were probably like the hypest thing that happened there since that song. Like,
I know.
But when I moved, you brought me over to Perry Dance.
I did, yeah.
You gave
You were the
me my
salsa
first.
teacher.
You gave me my first belly dance class there, so you gave me my shot there. You also gave me
You
a
did
salsa
salsa and
class.
belly dance. Yeah.
Gave me a salsa class there, which was also phenomenal. It was a great time. I still talk to a lot of those people that
Yeah.
I taught, which is amazing. But while I'm living this fabulous, dance, belly dance life, I'm hopping from house to house like every 3 months because when you transition out of college in New York City, you have these,
Yeah.
big dreams like I'm about to live, my Carrie Bradshaw style, whatever. No, you're not.
No,
Not
you're not.
post 9/11. Not
No.
and definitely not. And it was like immediately after, and I was getting paid what I don't even want. It was not cute.
It was not you, I know.
So I couldn't live just anywhere. So, when you told me about your apartment, this was a blessing. And thank God again for our landlady who, she didn't want too much mess in her place. So
Nope.
she kept the rent like,
Yeah.
affordable. It was, to me, I was like, what? A 2-bedroom apartment for that? What? And, she's been so considerate of my
Yeah.
artistic life.
Yes.
So I feel super blessed for you and her, of course. And it's been a
Oh,
wild ride. I mean, if these walls could talk, you know what I mean?
oh my. Oh my. I know. Oh my. So you know what? Let's dig into a little bit. So how does Jannelle motivate me, right? So why does she inspire me? And we're going to talk about some of those things. So she has her own business. We love entrepreneurs. I mean, not everybody's an entrepreneur because not everybody wants to be one. I mean, let's be real. You don't have to be one, but she is one.
I've always wanted to be one. I've
Yeah,
never
she's
wanted to
all, and
work for anybody.
she
I
never, here's the
tried.
thing. If Jannelle wants to, she will do it, whatever it
I
is.
I
Wait, tell the
tried
people what you
working.
do, Jannelle. Tell
What
the people
happened?
what you do.
Tell the people what I do.
Tell the people what you do.
I don't work for other people. Let's start right there. Like that's how much of an entrepreneur I am.
Yeah.
I tried it though. I did. I tried to, toe the line. I tried to fall in line, toe the
Yeah.
line, whatever. I did it for about a year and a half. And let me tell you something. After the big dreams that I had, to come to New York and go to college and become an attorney and blah, 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 there were just too many things that said, this is not the direction for you. I'm way too sensitive to give up my opinions and input and my integrity.
Yeah.
Let's just put it like
Yeah.
that, straight up.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I'm also extremely sensitive. I had I had a congressional internship when I was in college, and I think that was the first eye opener that I don't want to go anywhere near politics. I don't want to deal with legislation of any type. Um, that just wasn't the life for me. And I said, what
Right.
on earth am I going to do now?
Yeah.
And, funny thing, the way the universe works, I'm a firm believer that not only do you have to look for it, you have to, commit to what it is that you're, serious about. And then the doors will open for you.
They fling
will.
open.
They
Fling
will. But
open.
the
Yeah.
intention and the hard work has to be there. I'm a firm believer in that. And, when I was trying to figure out what it was that I was going to do with my life at around like 23 years old, I said to myself, until I can figure it out, let me just dance. And so the office that I happened to work for, I lasted a year and a half now. So I'm proud of that. Lasted a year and a half in corporate America, and Broadway Dance Center was down the street. And I told you I wasn't making anything, right? I wasn't making anything, but my job was fabulous. I worked for a very well-known sports organization. I'll leave it at that. And it was what was considered a sexy job. You don't get paid, but you get to say that you work there and you get the perks and
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
but in a very male dominated environment, it just wasn't, I didn't spend all that money on school and bust my butt and whatever to be treated like that. And quite frankly, no one should be treated like that, whether you do or don't.
Right.
So I said, this is not for me. So I started to go in my little dance classes at Broadway Dancer. Like I said, I didn't get paid much. And so what did I do? I went to the front desk and I said, okay, how can I take classes here? But I'm po.
But I'm po.
We have a work study program. And I said, all right, well, tell me more about that. And they're like, well, we don't have anything else available, but you can be on the cleaning crew. Now, let me tell you something. My mom raised us so that we would never have to clean. So it was almost like a denial thing. I'm not going to teach you how to do anything domestic because that's not what you're going to do with your life. You're going to be this. You don't have to worry about being, Lupe or Consuela. Okay. And so she did that. And then when they said that the cleaning crew, I wanted to dance, so I was willing to clean.
Yeah.
I just didn't know how.
Oh, God.
But I learned because I wanted to dance. And so what I would do is I would show up at Broadway Dance Center at 6 in the morning. I would clean from 6 a.m. to 8:30. I would clean toilets, y'all.
Yeah.
In there.
Not your home toilet.
And I'm a dancer, so I don't even tell you how nasty that shit was. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
But I did that every morning. I would shower right there, walk 2 blocks down on my job, do my job, and then once I clocked out, right back at Broadway Dance Center, taking Frank Hatchett, Maria Torres, Bev, Rhapsody, Amira Moore, my first.
Bev is why I decided to get into to teach. I was like, I think I'm too old. When I was 30 something. I was like, I think I'm too old. I took Bev's class. She was like, no.
The one thing I will say about, there's so many amazing things to say about Amira Moore, but what was so wonderful about her was that she was like, love, when you looked at her. She was like regal. She was always like dressed in the most beautiful belly dance clothes.
Always.
She was 41. She was my age right now when I met her. And she was like, ow, ow, ow.
And guess what? She still is.
And just, she still is, for sure.
She still is.
Just so fabulous. And it was like, yes, this is where I need to be. Right? So she was like my first introduction to that. And at that time, I've gone up and down and all around with my weight. Okay? Like, up and down and all around. And when I got to that class, I was probably the heaviest I had ever been up until that point. And I looked at her and I was still motivated by it, but it was the first time that I looked at myself in the mirror and really looked. And I didn't really care about like, can I get this choreography? Can I this and that, whatever. But I actually like looked, oh my God, my shoulders can do this, my elbows can do that. And it was right then and there that I fell in love with belly dancing.
Yeah.
Because of what it opened up inside of me.
Yeah.
I was so closed off for so long. I put on all that weight because I didn't want anybody to look at me. You know what I mean? I wasn't comfortable with all of the attention that I was getting. I wasn't used to it, and it made me feel a little funky. But that class made me look at myself and look at all the things that my body could do, and I was wowed by it. And I continued to look at myself. It's like I fell in love with myself, looking at myself in the mirror and being able to do that.
That form of dance does that for you. I started it because I had my son and I had gained all that weight and all this. It's one of those, it's the form of dance that makes you look at you. I love how you said that. You were like, it's the first time I saw myself. It actually makes you look at what is amazing, beautiful, stupendous, sensual about yourself. It's such a beautiful, sensual dance, and sensuality has so much to do with just enjoying the body and the skin you're in.
And so empowering.
Oh my gosh.
Nothing about
it's so much love for yourself. So much love.
Right.
Yeah.
and it's just like immediate roll the shoulders back. You just feel this thing. And I remember being so happy just looking forward to class.
Yeah.
You know? And even
Yeah.
in all the other classes that I took, like it made me more confident in those classes. And
So
then
true.
I don't know when this moment happened, but I was like, I want to be a professional belly dancer.
And you were.
So much
You were
confidence in
doing
that.
the damn thing. You were
When I
always
called my
dancing.
Dominican mom and told her this, I didn't even flinch. I wasn't freaked out about having this conversation at all. Like, this was what I was gonna do. I just wanted her to know that I'm gonna figure out how to make this career change, and I'm gonna teach dance. Like, I wanted to empower people the way what that woman did for me, what Ariana did for me,
Yeah,
for us.
yeah.
You know, I was like, I want to be able to do that for other people. I know
Yeah.
that there are other people that can benefit. I know that there are other people that are like me. You know, fake extroverts. Fextroverts. Is that a word?
I love
I don't
that.
know. I made it up. They're
Fake
fextroverts.
extroverts.
Yeah,
I like that. Yeah.
You're like, it's because I can do all this, right? But
Right.
it's still a shell. It's still surface. It's, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
So I was like, I know that there are those people, and I know that there are people who, like, you know, you're not gonna get anything out of them, like real introverts. And I was just, everybody could benefit from this. And so I went on that journey. And you know, like I said, the universe. You know that I lived up in the Fordham area in the Bronx, because that's where I went
Yeah.
to college. I lived there while I was on campus, and I also lived there immediately right after university. Do you know that the Bronx Dance Theater, the first place that I ever taught, was only 4 blocks away from Fordham University? The whole time? The whole time. And
Wow.
finally, when I was like, I want to teach, that's when I stumbled on it.
Wow.
Blocks away from my house for, we're talking about 5-6 years. And
But you weren't open. You weren't open and you weren't ready.
No. And I went in there and I was like, listen, I would like to teach, you know, belly dancing. I have background. I've been dancing ballet since I was 4. They were like, hold up. They were like, you had us at belly dancing, but we also need an instructor for 7 other classes. And I was like, say what, come again? And that was it. I walked in that office like George Jefferson, like, I'm leaving.
You have a George Jefferson walk. You know that, right? You do.
Have a George Jefferson walk.
Between the walk and the hair, everybody, the mask doesn't matter.
Yeah. And that was it. I was like, I'm putting them 2 weeks, son. I gotta go. Like, what you about to do? I'm about to go belly dance.
I love it.
The faces.
Pursue.
The faces were just hilarious. But I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna belly dance, and that's that. And don't worry about the rest. Like, I'm out.
Yeah, that is.
And that's how it started.
That's the mind of an entrepreneur. And it's funny because I'll say entrepreneur, but it's also the mind of somebody who just wants to get ahead, how they want to get ahead. We have to define things for ourselves, and then once we define those things, we're able to move forward in that lane. And you made your declaration. You didn't just define, you declared.
Let me tell you something.
But I know your mama. I can only imagine mom's look.
Yeah. Like, you know what? She saw me happy.
Yeah.
I was happy. You know, like, when you have 30 little kids looking at you, little brown and black kids looking at you.
See, that's the thing. Yeah.
Like, Miss Jannelle, you know, and they're listening and they're learning, and you see the development. You see the progression. When you do your recital at the end, you're like, I got 50 bodies on stage at one time. How did I do this? It's addictive, you know, like you become addicted to that.
It is.
In a good, and I think that's a good.
It's a good addiction. Yeah, it's a very good addiction. What for you? What do you feel is the most important thing about you as you're Dominican. You're in front of these kids, black and brown kids from all
Right.
over the place, because black and brown is like the continent, it's
Right.
the Caribbean, it's all this. So for you, what level of importance do you place on you as the
Huge.
person in the front of that room?
So I always go back. My first love was ballet. My first love was ballet. I remember going into ballet class. I had my spot. You know, everybody got their spot in the class. I had my
Yeah.
spot at the bar all the way over to the right of the room, and I loved it because there was this window that I could just like look out, right?
Mhm.
And for me, you know, I got energy now, but at
Right.
that age, my mom didn't even know what to do with me. She was like, let's just light candles, keep her as busy as possible, and pray for the best.
Yeah.
Because I had energy I didn't even know what to do with. And so ballet for me was what calmed me down. It was my yoga. It was my meditative moment. It's what I looked forward to after school. And I did it for like 2 hours every day after school. But I remember there's a certain sadness when the teacher looks, you know that technically you're doing things, but you're never, I had a booty at 10 years old, okay?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
What are you
And
gonna
when
do?
you know that you don't look like that ideal, you're not the person that's ever in the center, you're not getting like, you know,
Right.
solos, no matter, I learned choreography faster. It was like
Yeah.
myself and maybe 2 other girls that we were like, people knew that we knew the choreography always because we were, you know, we had it, but we just didn't look the part.
Wow.
And that's
Yeah.
heartbreaking. And so my teacher, Mrs. Hessler, she was incredible. But you know, she was German and old school, and she was just doing what she was taught. I'm not making an excuse, but this is the ballet world, right?
It is.
And this is why I'm so grateful for, you know, all of these, Michaela, you know, you've got Misty and all of these other
Yes.
amazing
Yeah.
dancers
Yeah.
that are giving other ballerinas like, hey, I have someone to look up to. Because
Right.
back then, I feel like I didn't have that. I just looked at my dance teachers and that was it. And they didn't look like me. And they weren't mean to me, but it was just clear that I could only do so much, go so far.
Right.
And then I
Right.
told, and something clicked inside of me that said, you know what? The most important thing is how you feel when you stand at this bar and you look out.
Right.
Because that's why you're here. And so I got that from that, and I enjoyed, and that for me was enough. It was enough. Although I had heartbreak that went with that. And so for me to stand in front of a room of brown and black little girls and boys,
Yeah.
chubby, on top of
Right.
that. So it's
Yeah.
like you can be skinny, you can be big, you can be tall, you can be whatever. Miss Jannelle said I can do this and whatever. And it's one of those things that as a dance teacher, you know, you go back to your little girl and you remember, all right, even if the best dancer in your class is the one that's skinny and whatever, make it a
Right.
point to shuffle it around.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
give people, I was always aware of that.
Right.
Even when I taught my adults as well, it was the same. I always was aware
Definitely.
of that because we all got our little
Definitely.
girl in there. You know,
Yeah.
our inner, you know, inner girl, inner boy, whatever that is. We
Definitely.
all have that, and that we lead with that sometimes, you know.
We do. Actually, we
Yeah,
lead with it a lot more than like I think, especially as dance teachers, especially as black and brown dance teachers, the one with the booty at age 10, you know, or you know, with
and
body,
titties.
like arms, thighs, like for us to have someone who's like, you worked hard, you can dance your ass off. That's what I care about. Not you work hard, you dance, but that's not the general look that is supposed to be doing this type of dance. Like when you have someone in front of the room who looks like you and is like, you know what? I see you. I see your talent. I see that, you know, you're appreciated. When you
Yeah.
see your talent, when you can look at someone and see them for their talent, it is a big deal. It's a
Oh,
very big deal.
absolutely.
And we definitely
Absolutely.
bring that in when we're like, we're going to make sure that when we look at the dancers in front of us, we look at people who are passionate about their movement.
So and I feel like I got my redemption through teaching, you
Yeah,
know?
I think
Like
so.
I got it through that. I had so many moments, that I'm so proud of. And then, and even, in belly dance, trust and believe. I mean, you can speak to so many of us.
Yeah,
We come up against, there are roadblocks all over the place because
all
unfortunately
over.
there's
Yeah,
misogyny, the way the people that hire us treat us, musicians, unfortunately.
yeah,
There's colorism galore.
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 It's
We deal
rearing
with
its
it,
ugly
and you
head,
know what?
man.
It was the
Mm,
entrepreneur in me kicked in anytime that I wasn't able, that I felt like a door was closing. I was like, I don't care about your door. I don't even want
open
the
your own.
window. I'm going to build
Yeah,
my own house. Don't worry about it. And so what I would do was create productions so that my students could shine, their
right.
choreographies could be displayed, and so that women of color could be celebrated, featured, That was
Yeah,
so important to me. I refuse, I was angry, but in a good way. I was defiant, really. It was
yeah.
just like, it's all right. I'm going to figure out how to do this. And you know what? There are times where I don't break even. Shit, I'm pretty sure there are
There are
times where I
times
was
we
in the
just,
red.
we went
And it
down in the
didn't
dirt.
matter. We just
Yeah,
kept, you're
yeah,
like, the next production will work, we'll pay for this, whatever. We're just pushing through
exactly.
it.
Yeah,
And I'm so lucky, that I have my shimmy sisters, as I call them, my
yeah,
students. They were all grown women who saw what I was trying to do. They got,
yeah,
they got so much out of class. They gave me so much. Um, and they were there to help in any way, shape, or form. Oh, we need a makeup artist. We need costumes. We need this. And it became a communal thing. So much more than just the class, so much more than just production and the people in it or whatever. It was a thing that we were building.
yeah, yeah.
It was a
It
force,
was a place
and
to, it was a place to be your most authentically beautiful self
yeah, and
and
and a lot of them.
unapologetically, because that's the whole thing. It's like, don't apologize for how amazing you are. You are. Now go do
Let
it.
me tell you, when you know what this is like, when you get your people that come to class and they're in the back and they little by little start to inch their way to the front,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
They're like, what am I doing here the first couple days?
yeah.
They got the long sleeves, the long everything or whatever, and then
The
all of a sudden they're
sweatpants.
like, oh,
Wait,
let
the
me get the
sweatpants on
yeah.
up to their, yeah,
Then all of a sudden they come in with a crop top one day, and they like bedazzled and bejeweled, and you
yeah.
see this transformation,
It's the
and
most amazing
that's the
thing.
ultimate reward.
It is
That's
amazing. It
that's the
is
ultimate reward
now let
to
you
me.
know what? So I know. Woo, that
Yeah,
flashbacks.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
funny because that kind of segues into the dance retreats because you were taking people to Egypt.
Yes.
Yeah, so kind of talk about that because that leads into what you do now. Because I call you my Cuba expert, but we'll get into that. You are.
So
So
when I don't know if you remember your first time doing one of these, big belly dance festivals or whatever.
I will never
My
ever forget.
The first
Ever.
one I went to was Egypt. I want to say it was 2006. I went
Mm-hmm.
in 2006. Who put Cuba with a heart on it? I love
That's
you.
Tisha.
Yes.
Tisha wrote that. Cuba.
Yeah. um, and I remember, oh my God, this was hilarious. So I signed up for this, festival out in Egypt, and it's like everybody's gonna be in it. Rami
Yeah.
Jamal, Dina, I mean the hitters, I said, I gotta go to this. I saved up all my little pennies all year. I was like, I'm going to this thing. And it was all fabulous. It was probably
Yes.
one of the most amazing trips ever. But I was going alone. This was a solo trip for me. So I meet 15 other women, most of them from California.
I'm sorry, Victoria's yelling. Wait, hold on. You see Victoria yelling about Cuba reunion? Anyway.
Yes, Cuba reunion.
Yes, we're going to have one. Victoria, we're going to have one.
So I go on this. Here I am. I meet all of these, like, you know, hella cool Cali chicks, right? You know, Cali people on a different vibe. New Yorkers are crazy.
They really are.
But I love them anyway. You know, you need Cali people in your life. And I go with all these chicks to, you know, the belly dance festival. We have, you know, the person who's the host, who is the organizer, who happens to be also a fabulous belly dancer, who was going to be teaching at this festival as well. Latifah, this is Egypt, you know, 2006. This is my first trip in the Mideast, or North Africa, excuse me, in North Africa. And this is a completely different culture.
Yes, it is.
Completely. I mean, you will experience culture shock on your first trip to Egypt. It's inevitable. It also freaking amazing.
It's awesome.
But in the beginning, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
So luckily for me, you know, I knew how to dress and, you know, not attract too much attention. Well, as much as you can do that when you got this butt, right? But we get to this thing, we do all our classes or whatever. But the one thing that I'll say was the downside to this trip was that our host, our leader, was nowhere to be found. We literally got to the hotel and it was just like, we didn't see her again until we got on the flight back home. So it was one of those things where I already had my students. And when I came back from the trip, you know, they were like, oh my God, this is amazing. We want to go. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if this woman could take 15, 16 people to Egypt and basically not be there, I know I can do a way better job because at least I'll be there.
Right.
I may not know anything about anything, but at least I'll be there. And that should be comforting enough. That's way more than this lady did for us. Yes. And so, you know, I grew a pair of these and I was like, I'm gonna do my first trip to Egypt with my students. And let me tell you, that's a trip we still talk about to this day.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Yes, I love that.
Yes. I actually did a great job with that. I was really proud of that trip, and that was kind of like what started this, you know, from Groove Fit turning into what is now becoming Groove Trips. It was kind of like the melding of these two worlds. I've always loved travel. Always. Since I was a kid, just you know, traveling from DR with my family and just that whole experience and just feeling like the world was just open to me. And knowing that I could meet people from different places and that we still all wanted the same things, to be happy, healthy, secure, that our families were taken care of. And it was just like that connector that let me know that I have a place in this world, you know, and I'm like other people, and that's a good thing. I mean, yes, I am unique, and that's great, but it's also comforting to know that there's so many people in the world who want the same things that you do, you know?
Right.
And so that's why I love travel, and I love meeting people, and of course, you know, dance, you can, so much of the migration story of people, those stories are told through music and through dance. So after that first trip to Egypt, it gave me such a deeper understanding of what I was dancing to. You know? Right. The feeling and the mood of the dance became so much more apparent to me. And so I wanted to share that with my students as well.
And then you brought them there, and that turned into, because you also took your students to Turkey,
Morocco,
Greece.
And you know, it's important. I thought that, you know, yes, they do belly dance in Greece, but I didn't know that that's not their traditional dance. So it's like I had to learn a lot of these things just by without travel. I wouldn't have learned it, right? I didn't know that Chantilly was there.
Travel is so important. Right. Travel just opens up your heart, your mind. It opens up your soul, I think. When you travel, it all the places in you that were shut off, all the places in you that you hadn't connected to, they come alive when you travel, you know? And I think what's so great is when we have people like you and I, because everybody knows I do retreats, you do retreats, we've done retreats together. We were supposed to do some this year, but COVID. But we're, but we're still doing our trip to Ghana next year. So just so
Yes, we
everybody
are.
knows, we're still doing Ghana and we're doing Cuba next year. So Ghana and Cuba. Ghana is in
We're doing next August.
August, and Cuba is March
I think it's
or April.
March. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I think it's March. And I'm only confused about that because I've had to move so many trips to next year.
I know.
Like,
all my stuff is
what group?
everywhere.
I've got 3 Cuba groups that I had to move over to next year. I'm actually going to go back to Cuba, God willing, in September because, you know, I met my husband in Cuba and we've got to go back and visit his family. Okay.
I know the story.
Well,
I know the story.
We're not going to talk about that yet. But yes, we have to. We have to go back.
Okay.
We have to go back to Cuba for our family responsibilities, for sure. So for many reasons, but yeah. So I ended up taking my students to all of those different places, and then I think 2008 happened, and it was like zoop, zoop. Everything kind of shifted at that time. One thing that I forgot to mention to you, Latifah, and I don't know if you remember this, but before 2008, when I was just starting my travel, venturing off into traveling and tourism, Bronx Dance Theater also blessed me with a lot of teenage, Dominican and Puerto Rican, Latino kids.
Yes.
And so I remember the first time one of my students goes, Miss Jannelle, can you help me come up with a choreography for my quinceañera? And I was like,
yes, I remember that. Yeah. That became a big thing for you.
About this industry. I wish the emoji would go like, that emoji that's like, because I never had a quinceañera. I always wanted one, but when I found out that I was going to have one, I was like, all right, no big deal, whatever, we'll travel. But I did this for her not knowing that this industry was a beast on its own.
Yeah.
And this was also around the time where MTV was doing Cribs and all of that stuff. So I started watching those shows. Not Cribs, I'm sorry, MTV My Sweet 16 or something. You remember when they would do like those over-the-top Sweet 16? Never mind.
Oh,
anyway,
somebody watching this is gonna go.
Me neither. You better shut up. I know that's Miss Jackie. Jackie,
that's it.
Listen. No, she's saying she didn't have a quince. Listen, Jackie, you and I can have a.
You know what? We should do that.
We're
gonna make a quinceañera for everybody that didn't have one.
Yeah,
that's what
let's
we're
have a quince.
Let's do that.
So I didn't know. And of course, basically, I did this for her for free. I didn't know what the hell I got myself into. I didn't know that, like, there's a court and there's, like, 30,000 kids. And you got to rehearse every Sunday, basically, leading up to it. And I didn't know that every Latino has got 3 or 4 cousins that are going to be in the quince, but they don't show up till the weekend before. So rehearsal the weekend before the quinceañera is a nightmare, okay? And so I basically did this for free because I didn't know. I was like, of course I'll help you with your quince. And then, of course, I met the MC, and he was like, wow, you did a great job with Tiempo de Vals, that damn song. And because they played it every single one. And all of these choreographies. And he was so impressed with, of course, the belly dance choreography that I did for them. And he was like, how much do you charge for all these other quinces that I'm emceeing, but they need choreography? And I was like, well, I don't know, because I did this for free. He damn near passed out. He was like, I'm sorry, what? You did this for what? He said, you do know.
Yeah.
And at that time, he gave me a number that had 3 zeros behind it. And he was like, you should be charging this much that's what you should be charging. He's like,
Right.
when the photographer gets 2 G's and the videographer gets 2 G's, what do you think you as the choreographer that has to be with these kids for like 3 months
For weekends,
gets paid?
for
And I was
5 to
like,
10 weekends, yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, I can make money doing what I love. Oh, and that opened, so it was the dancing. I got to do all of these events. I was basically coordinating events, and I was, doing all of the choreography. It opened a whole nother door.
It sure does.
And it was
does.
just like, it was like watching atoms split. It was incredible.
I love that. It is so, I love that, atom
10,008
splitting.
came.
Yeah, that's true.
10,008 came, and it was like, and basically people were not, the quinceañeras kind of dried up. I mean, I was basically doing about 3 or 4 a month. At this point, I probably had a good ride for about 2 years. And then it kind of dried up. The traveling got a little tricky too, taking these big trips. Who said, yeah, it's so amazing knowing you are? Oh, yes.
You are, yeah, it is amazing to know you're worth more than you think. Yeah, very true.
Yeah. And
Very
really,
true.
you grew up, Latifah, your dad, amazing human being and, attorney, but he had business savvy, So I'm sure that I'm assuming that he imparted some of that wisdom, right?
Well, that, but my mama was the business. Mama.
So mama was doing it.
Mama was the business. Daddy was the law. Mommy was the business.
But I don't know if some of you guys could relate to being in a household where you didn't talk about money, because my
now it's funny because we didn't exactly talk about money. We talked about business. We didn't really talk about money.
And that's different.
That is different. We talked about business because I was the copy girl. I cleaned the bathroom because we started the business in our apartment. So I knew these things like that, but we didn't talk money. And talking money is very important. Very important.
Yes,
That's Debbie.
Yes.
It's so important, and we don't do that enough. And Black and brown communities need to, because we're so freaking far behind. We need to start talking money more.
Absolutely.
And what you're talking about with, it's like, oh, I'll do it for free. It's like, that's talking about money. That's making sure, not only knowing what you're worth, but understanding you're not just here to make money, you're here to grow wealth.
Yeah. And I would say for any entrepreneur, I would pose it to you just the way that MC said it to me. He's like, do you think any of these other people are working for free? Do you think that you can show up to a catering hall and that's going to be for free? Because those are the first people that got to get paid. And I think that when you're in that business long enough, and now you start to become privy to, okay, what people are making, because you start to find out, and you see that you can't rent a catering hall anywhere in New York or surrounding areas for less than 15 G's on a Sunday, okay? And then you're like, and I'm here working for free.
No, giving the shop away.
That was one time, and I learned. You know what? I learned all my lessons with that one time, and it was fine. It was fine. But like I said, the universe, right? All of these doors just kept opening, and a lot of. If I were to go ask myself, like, what was the foundation? What was the moment that put you on that path? It was that. It was doing something super humbling, Broadway Dance Center, cleaning bathrooms. My mother, that was it. I don't even know if my mom knows this. So don't even thank God my mom don't got none of this social media stuff and whatever. Because I don't think that had I told her that, she'd have been like, come again? What? But you know what? And speaking of cleaning, look at Miss Jackie has a cleaning empire over there in New Jersey. Doing it.
Yes, she does. She's my birthday present to myself, by the way.
Happy birthday, Miss Jackie. And so doing something that I thought that I would never do, doing whatever it took so that I could make my dream possible, and then the universe said, okay, so we'll put this in front of you and this in front of you. And then I was able to take this in events, travel. And, you know, and here we are. So.
And here we are. Let's talk about Cuba for a second, because I got to Cuba and got to really get immersed. That's what I do. When I do my retreats, I like to get immersed in the culture, because you can't just go someplace and just stay on a resort. You got to go somewhere and get immersed in the culture.
Let me tell you something about Cuba, Latifah. Whether you want to be immersed or not, you ain't got no choice in Cuba, man. When you arrive in Cuba, you will be greeted by Cuba. It's gonna be Cuba,
you are enveloped.
whether you want to or not.
That is so true.
You're gonna get the real deal. This is why I love this place so much. I fell in love with this place. And I don't know for you guys on Facebook, but actually a memory popped up today. This was when today.
I saw that 4 years ago.
Today, 4 years ago, was when I left on my Eat, Pray, Love journey.
Yes, yes, yes.
My first trip was, I was going to go to Spain first, the colonizer. I don't know, I just wanted to go.
I want to go to the colonizer first. And then
colonizer first.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was a great time. But Cuba was something else completely. And I was only in Spain for 2 weeks. But I had, my trip to Cuba was for 3 weeks. And my trip to Cuba was very, there was a loose planning. But I knew that there was something in Cuba that was there for me. I've known this for years. I found this out actually at Geneva Dance and Drum. I don't know if you guys remember Geneva.
Oh, that's a flashback. I did classes with Rihanna there, and I did some classes. So, oh my God! But anyway, yeah, that's a flashback.
Y'all, I talk in circles, but I promise the story does.
It comes back.
It comes back. It comes back.
It comes back. She brings it all together.
I bring it back. It's like stream of consciousness is happening.
Yes. And she's drinking wine now.
At Geneva Dance and Drum, and that place felt like you stepped into another world when you were there.
Yeah,
right?
you did.
It was like Sabar over in this room, Samba in that room. You know,
and I did it all.
African drumming and this and that room. That place was amazing. I took a class with Poopy. Do you remember Poopy? Who taught Afro-Cuban dance?
Yes.
He was the truth. He was the truth. And I remember going across the floor in his class and feeling like calambre shoot through my body. Chills. And I was like, what was that? I said, oh no, I ain't about to be possessed up in this class. I don't know. If it was the Santos who were calling me, talking to me, I don't know what was going on. And I said, Lord, and it was just after that class, there was like always this faint, like Cuba.
Yeah.
And when those charter flights started going out to Havana from JFK, I had to book my ticket. I had to be there. And so I went down for 3 weeks. And I met the love of my life on the 5th day there. My 5th day there, I met Rainier. Yeah.
Oh, honey. No, you did. You know, it's amazing how life, what turns life, you know, what twists and turns turn into. Right? All these different things. You have all these things you just talked about, and it leads you to all these wonderful things, but it leads you to this opening here.
Yeah.
And you get that opening, and there's somebody who you don't have to force yourself to love, and somebody doesn't have to force themselves to love you.
It's time to open the bottle. Let's see.
Okay.
That was the open the bottle moment. Y'all gonna have to give me a bottle.
I think it was. I may have to get up in a second and get some water. Okay.
Let me open the bottle on that one. Let's see. You remember that before what prompted this Eat, Pray, Love trip was that there were a few things that were all happening at once. And it was like the pressure cooker was like, woo.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
there
I
was
remember.
steam just had no place to escape at this point.
Yeah,
And you know, I had gotten out of I had basically gone through a devastating breakup.
I
Devastating.
remember.
Okay.
That
I
was
hadn't
hard.
been heartbroken like that since like, I don't know, I was like 11 or
Right.
12. You remember like back in the days, like your first crush disappointment where it was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, like that, like that.
Yes.
It was terrible.
I don't know if you remember, we were at what restaurant were we sitting at? And it was like the final end. Like, do you remember, it was a
That
Japanese
time was such a
restaurant.
blur to me. That
I
that
know. And it
breakup was so
it was,
horrendous that I
yeah.
think that I blocked out so much of
You
what
probably
happened
blocked out like
after. What
entire
happened?
chunks of time. You probably blocked out like complete
Oh,
entire chunks of
for
time where
sure.
like, see that.
Chunks,
Yeah.
chunks, chunks, for sure.
Yeah.
But you know, I had breakups up until that point. The Aside from that one being like the most devastating, what was very different for me with that breakup was that I was determined to wake up every day, go to work, put on a face, push through. I would get home exhausted. I would like open the door and like fall to my, just like literally fall to my knees. I think I cried for like 2 months. It was horrible. It was horrendous.
It was. It
It was
was.
horrendous. But I remember that when I booked this trip, my little Eat, Pray, Love, I was still going through it. You know, I was still like pushing through. And by the time I got to take the trip, I was in a great place.
Yeah.
So I don't even remember. I wish that I could remember when I actually booked the trip to when I left. But I feel like there was at least a good 8-9 months, right? It was like one day I just stopped crying.
Right.
Right? One day I took note of it. I was like, shit, I ain't cried today. Okay, because I begged God. I was like, please God, let me feel like a normal human being again. Take this away. And I hit my bottom, kept praying, and then just one day I stopped crying. And then that day that I noticed, I was like, you know what? I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be more than fine. And then I just, oh, Tifa, stop it. Oh, yeah. And I said, what I'm going to do now, I've wasted so much energy thinking about this man, thinking about this relationship. What could have been different? Why didn't I see the signs? Blame. I put myself through it. I had so much anger, I didn't know what to do with it, And then I said to myself, okay, I'm going to be fine. And this is still a process. I know that I'm in it. I'm going to start being kind to myself now.
Yeah.
I've been through
It's a conscious decision. It's a conscious decision.
I acknowledged what I had just gone through. I was proud that I stuck to my guns and didn't take a day off to just cry in my house when, Lord knows.
Yeah.
I was so happy sometimes in class that I was sweating so hard because I was really
Nobody
crying.
could tell you were crying.
I was crying
Yeah, I
in
know.
the class. I hope my students don't ever hear that and feel guilty or anything like that. But see, again, you feel bad about that because it's a constant blaming yourself, you should be stronger,
Yeah.
you should be this, blah, 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 blah. And so I acknowledged what I had gone through. I said, I'm going to be kind to myself. This trip is coming up. I can't wait. It's going to be blah, blah, blah. And when I got there, I was in a great
Oh my
space.
God.
And here
Jannelle,
comes this man to sweep me off my feet. I was like, damn it.
we have 10 seconds left. I can't believe this happened. We got 10 seconds left. Oh,
anyway,
we gotta
still
go.
together. How about that?
You're still together. I love you, Jannelle.
Everything's wonderful. I love you. I thank you guys
I'm
for
so glad
watching.
you joined me. We got 3, 2,